Let me bring in Harsh Shringla now, former Foreign Secretary. Ambassador Shringla, really appreciate your time. I mean, Prime Minister's message has been strong and stern, particularly what he said with regards to terrorism, that terrorism will not go unpunished. This act will not go unpunished. How do you look at the overall messaging that has come in from the Prime Minister? And of course, he was reflecting the sentiments of the entire country at this juncture.
Well, I think it's very clear that, terrorism as an instrument of policy will no longer be tolerated. What Prime Minister Modi is saying is that if you inflict terrorism on us and our citizens, you will have to pay, in kind. I mean, in other words, you will have to meet the full force of law and justice from India. And I think that has been the practice in the last 10 years. Pulwama, we saw a strong response. We have already taken certain steps at the diplomatic level. And I'm sure there will be an appropriate and considered response as and when it is, timely from the government side to, I would say, lethally address the issue of terrorism and those who support terrorism and the infrastructure around them.
Does the Prime Minister's speech reflect the stance of global cooperation against terrorism? Because even as we speak, there have been a long list of world leaders who have called up Prime Minister Narendra Modi, from the French to the Italians to the Japanese to Jordanian king. All of them have expressed concerns and also expressed solidarity with India. Do you think, Prime Minister, India is at that juncture where they have sent a message that India stands firm in its resolve in this revenge?
Absolutely. I think we have maintained a very responsible posture in the global stage. We have always advocated for peace through dialogue and diplomacy. But at the same time, we've made it clear that any attempts, which infringe on our sovereignty and territorial integrity, including acts of terrorism, will be met very, very harshly. And that has been seen in a number of instances, not only in the case of Pakistan, but even in the case of China, which attempted multiple transgressions in 2020. But we did not budge. I think we stayed absolutely firm on our stance, resulting ultimately in, some sort of understanding and agreement with China that has slowly led to some sort of rapprochement. In the case of Pakistan, I think it has to be made clear that a resort to terrorism for whatever justifications or whatever reasoning on their side. I think part of that is also, they do not like what they see in Jammu and Kashmir, the mainstreaming of Jammu and Kashmir into the Indian mainstream, the sort of, fact that people of Jammu and Kashmir have become stakeholders for peace and stability in that state. They understand that there is a huge dividend of peace that is forthcoming. And from that perspective, I think it upsets all of Pakistan's plans to see that the initiative taken by Prime Minister Modi to abrogate Article 370 is succeeding beyond measure. And I think this is what has led them to initiate such, I would say, very unusual steps in today's world. But it doesn't come without a price. And that's what I think Prime Minister Modi is saying. That's what the country wants. And I think that's what will happen.
Ambassador Shringla, last couple of questions to you. What does Prime Minister Modi's call for zero tolerance policy towards terrorism mean for India's relations with countries that have been accused of harboring or supporting terrorist groups? And how do you think India will be able to work on this building of some kind of international consensus around its approach? There are concerns particularly with what the decision has been and which has got a lot of reactions coming from Pakistan, that India has put the Indus water treaty on hold.
No, I think, our approach has been very, very effective. As you've said, countries across the world have rallied around us at this time when we are the victims of terrorism. At the same time, I think we have done some very quick diplomatic briefings of foreign envoys and countries at their capitals also, and explain to them, what our policy is all about and what the steps we've taken and what the provocations were that led to these steps. So that rationale has been outlined. I think the issue is that countries understand that when you are attacked, you have the right to defend yourself. President Trump, I think, very, very aptly said that in 2019 when we had the Pulwama attacks. This time he has said that I stand by Prime Minister Modi and the people of India. The similar statements, as you said, have come from President Putin, from President Macron, from across the board. And even countries like Turkey and Iran have come across and said that they condemn the terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. And I think that shows the level of outreach and the level of solidarity we have achieved in terms of our global outreach. And we have to continue to do that to ensure that Pakistan is isolated and that we take the diplomatic steps necessary to keep our partners and friends with us in this time.
Okay, Ambassador Shringla, my last question to you. Pakistan has invoked, treaties, dispute resolution provisions 3 times, and not always in good faith. When the Indus Water Treaty was conceived, it was to ensure mutual benefit through peace. And on multiple occasions, Pakistan has gone back on it. Do you think India, when it says that right now it has exercised its sovereign right to protect national interest and hence it has decided to suspend the Indus Water Treaty, it will also be legally, it can defend it legally as well?
Well, the Indus Water Treaty has served its purpose for a certain period of time. But we've seen in recent years that Pakistan has resorted increasingly to obfuscation and I would say, legal steps that are essentially impeding the functioning of the treaty. So from that point of view, the treaty has not been functioning the way it should have. And what we have said is that we would hold this treaty in abeyance until such time that Pakistan abjures its policy of supporting terrorism and radicalism. So from that perspective, I think we have made it clear that we are not abrogating the treaty, we are holding it in abeyance. And that, I believe that under international law, every state has the right to take the steps that it feels necessary under certain conditions. As they say, it takes 2 hands to clap, and you need both partners working on a certain agreement to keep it alive. In this case, clearly, Pakistan has been, constantly, I would say, impeding the smooth functioning of the treaty. So keeping it in abeyance, I think, is not in any way really taking steps that are untoward. In any case, I think in actual practical terms, the treaty was not working very well.
Ambassador Harsh Shringla, really appreciate your time here on this edition of The Last Word.